Andrew Wilson. So I ride 2 to 3 times during the week. Awesome. That's a lot. But I rarely ride on weekends. So my question is, how do I keep my intensity up during my 25-minute motos, even though I almost never have anyone to ride with or to push me? Andrew, good question. 2 to 3 times a week is really frequent. So that's awesome. Good for you. Okay. I used to have the same problem. My question is, how do I keep my intensity up during my 25-minute motos, even though I almost never have anyone to ride with? This was a huge thing for me when I was training at Rocky Hill track in Connecticut, pretty much my entire life. So the good news is when I was on little bikes, I could just go out there and race with people that were either, when I was on 85s or super minis, I would go out and hop behind a pro rider on a 250 or a 450. And so I always had somebody, not always, because usually I was still the fastest person at the track. And I'm sure I'm saying this, and this might sound all unrealistic, but any fast person listening to this, I'm sure has had the same issue growing up. Unless you're at a training facility, you're going to go to the track and you're going to be the fastest one there by far, to where you have to figure out how to be able to up your riding level on your own, which is why a training facility is so useful, because there's nothing like riding with people that are faster than you. You can't really replicate that. But ways that you can do to improve slowly is you've got to create benchmarks, and you got to be really aware when you're out there, just feeling, not necessarily even lap times, because that can get you stuck down a certain path, because now you're comparing lap times from last week and last month, and the track's different, the dirt's different. It's very hard to compare one track on different days. But what the heck was I talking about? You just have to be aware and really feel and try to push that extra 6 inches, that extra another 1.5 foot coming into a corner. And you can feel that difference. At least I can. When I'm pretty tuned in to where when I start to charge a section a little harder, it's subtle from the outside in. You'd never be able to tell a difference, but I can feel that little bit more intensity. My heart rate will go a little higher because maybe I'll hold my breath, and just getting used to that speed and that track coming at me a little faster in small little ways like that. It's a safe way to progress. It's a good way to progress when you're by yourself. When you're with people, even if it's somebody not in your class, or it's not a friend, or it's not, it could be somebody like my example of being on an 85 or super mini, and maybe it's somebody that's racing the B class or the A class or is pro on a big bike. What I used to do is, I'm sure, wicked annoying to people, so don't do this. I would hop in behind them, and then that was when I was little. I think when I got older, then I was the guy getting hopped behind, and it was a fun challenge, I guess, but it would drive you nuts, because sometimes, I'd be 28 minutes into a 30-minute moto, and then the next fastest guy there will hop in behind me, and I'm like, can anybody relate to that? I get it, but annoying, and I used to be that guy forever. So whoever I've done that to, geez, I apologize. A better move is hop on a part of the track where you can watch them, but you're not near them. I think that's more a respectful way of doing it, unless you go up and ask the person, can I hop in behind you, or could I go out a little bit in front of you and then you can chase me down? I think, if somebody came up to me and asked me that at a track, I would say yes to either. The going out behind you, no, that's great. If somebody asked you, 100%, I would say yes. Yeah. So go up, ask. I think that's the right thing to do. At least me being kind of a faster person, that people do that to me all the time. And I'm sure you guys can relate to that. Those of you that are faster when you go to a local track, just ask. Yeah. Hopefully that answered your question. If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to send in your own video submission, you can join us in the Moto Academy family inside of the Moto Academy app by just going to themotoacademy.com. That's also where you can sign up for a class. Okay, guys, see you next episode.